800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
You can't judge success without setting expectations. So today we do that for your Miami Dolphins, who are in the news because of a big extension. We set expectations on the Dolphins seasons on Theoretically Speaking.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell.
Theo Dorsey is Theoretically Speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Streaming live on YouTube. Here's Theo Dorsey.
Uh-oh. Just as I wanted to go full Dolphins here, of course, we know we have the extension to one of the fastest receivers in the league, Jaylen Waddle. Some news from Adam Schefter right out of the gates. It's almost CCAT like he knew we were gearing up for an episode of Theoretically Speaking here. We have our new candidate for Hard Knocks.
Wow. Classic Shefty.
Are you a Hard Knocks guy, CCAT?
Started last year, believe it or not.
I am not one to lock in on Hard Knocks as much, but given the fact that I made a proclamation about this team right after the NFL draft saying that they will win the NFC in the next 3 years, I think I got to be locked in on HBO because the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears are going to be the team featured on Hard Knocks. According to Adam Schefter, it says here, NFL and NFL Films have selected the Chicago Bears to serve as this year's team on Hard Knocks. The first episode going to be August 6th. And what's the over-under on the episode in which they discuss Caleb Williams and the nail painting?
Ooh, that's got to be like, you don't even do the episode. You do what minute in episode 1?
First 10 minutes or so, there's going to either be him expressing why he does it, there's going to be a coach questioning him on it on camera, or they're going to do the classic thing where in the opening montage, because, again, we were all forced to watch it this past year because of Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. In the opening montage, when they're building up the story of what the Bears is, there's going to be some old hack on the radio who's going to be he's going to be the face of it, right? Because everybody's going to be watching, and he's going to be like, I can't have my franchise quarterback up there in the salon, this, that, and the third. And it's going to get a little funny. It's going to get ugly. But what I'm most excited about with this is I really do believe in what Caleb Williams can be, the way that Ryan Poles has built a team around him and given him weapons. So I am excited to see what teammates or how they react to him throughout training camp, right? Like, they were treating Aaron Rodgers like a god on Hard Knocks last year. I wonder how the Bears guys, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, some of the vets treat Caleb Williams. And we'll get to see a lot of that before they even kick off the season. I'm excited.
I'm excited, too. Caleb Williams in shorts. Oh, it's going to be fun.
Good.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And hopefully with a line that can actually block for him and give him some time to make some big plays. But that's not where we wanted to start today. We wanted to talk about your Miami Dolphins here, going into year 3 with Mike McDaniel at the head coaching spot, going into year 3 with really the offensive core of Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, and Mike McDaniel, the fastest show on turf. It's got all of these different monikers behind it, a fun regular season team, but I think this is when it stops becoming fun and it starts becoming about business. Because in order for you to judge success for an NFL team or really any sporting squad at that, you have to figure out what the expectations are going into the season. And today we start with the Baptist Health Orthopedic Care Football Off-Season Report. We do these once a week, the Baptist Health Orthopedic Care Off-Season Football Report. And today's big news from the Miami Dolphins is that the Dolphins have agreed to a contract extension with Jaylen Waddle that makes him one of the highest paid receivers in the NFL. 3 years, $84.75 million is the initial report. $76 million of that guaranteed. Waddle now 4th amongst wide receivers in the NFL when it comes to annual average value, just north of $28 million a year, and he's 3rd in guaranteed money. The speedster on the outside, 17, who, by the way, my wife endearingly calls Mr. Waddle. She loves the little Waddle dance. Well, at least we know that that guy is going to be signed under the Miami Dolphins through 2028. Exciting news for Dolphins fans. But what does it mean for the actual expectations on the field? What does it mean for how we judge success from the Miami Dolphins today? I'm excited because we have some great guests lined up to help us with that, starting with NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe. We'll get him on. But again, the Baptist Health Orthopedic Care Football Offseason Report brought to you by Baptist Health. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge techniques and treatments to provide advanced orthopedic foot and ankle joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. For me, the Miami Dolphins have situated themselves to be a very fun team. To me, they are one of the greatest teams to watch on television or in person, and really, really great to play with in Madden. Are they a serious Super Bowl contender? Do they have the roster build-up and the guys currently on the roster, especially with the way the salary cap situation is set up for Miami, to be able to actually contend for Super Bowls in the near years? A lot of that is going to be judged based off of what they do at the quarterback position with Tua Tagovailoa, who's playing on his fifth-year option so far. And to help us figure out what both the Jaylen Waddle contract means and what the Dolphins may be doing next with Tua Tagovailoa, we welcome in friend of the show and NFL Network national reporter, Cameron Wolfe. Wolfe, what up with you, baby?
What's up, my guy?
Nothing much, man. I'm surprised I'm able to catch you right now. You're not somewhere on a golf course. Every time I look on Instagram, you're over there shooting a 120 at the local neighborhood.
That's how we gonna start things. 120 is what you scoring on the front nine.
Yeah. Now, I will come clean. Our fans here at Theoretically Speaking, and C-Cat himself, my producer, he knows. We all know that I do stink on the golf course, and I'm working on it. But give me some time, and I'll work my way up. Cam, you see the deal. You see the deal for Jaylen Waddle. You see the numbers, the guaranteed money. You see the AAV, and that being stacking up with the top receivers in the NFL. And what's your first thought? Because my first thought is, where the hell do they find the money now to sign Tua to a long-term extension? But you're much closer to the Dolphins than I am. What's your first thought on this?
Yeah, I saw Jaylen Waddle got paid. I mean, you've seen these wide receiver contracts go crazy this offseason, and $28 million is certainly showing his value. I think you enter a situation where, Devontae Smith started this thing off. He made $25 million a year, and then you still start to get some of these other guys paid. Amon-Ra St. Brown got $30 million a year. So Jaylen falls right in that boat, and it really tells me what the Dolphins' mode has been the last 2 years is still the same. They're all in. They are built to be a Super Bowl team now, and so now is time to win. And you mentioned Tua's deal. This does not prevent them from signing Tua. I would expect that to be the next focus for them. What goes in their favor, they released Xavier Howard earlier this offseason on a June 1st cut. So starting on June 1st, they have about $18 million in cap space that becomes available to them. They can't use that until then. So maybe that June 1st date starts to become a more realistic date for seeing a Tua extension. They can get the Waddle extension done without it, but Tua, they'll certainly need that money to get it done.
Right. Now that makes sense. Now at least we have an expectation on when to hear the Tua news. Is there any kind of rumblings around what the annual value of that contract might be? Because we see that Trevor Lawrence is up for an extension, and I'm going to get your opinion on him because I know you're big on that guy. We saw what Jared Goff was able to get from the Detroit Lions earlier this offseason. Where does Tua kind of fall in that mix?
Yeah, so people may be surprised by this, but Tua's almost certainly going to get over $50 million. And my expectation at this point is that he gets more than what Jared Goff got, which was about $53 million a year. That's just the going rate of quarterbacks. And you look at what Tua's coming off of. He's coming off of a season where, for the first time in his career, he played all 17 games, and he led the NFL in passing. Last offseason, the Dolphins were very clear with him. They said, hey, look, injuries are a concern. We cannot pay you an extension yet. get healthy, produce how you did last year, and then we'll come back to the table. Tua took that and ran with it and didn't get hurt. He played well until we got to January, and now it's time to pay him. And so my expectation is that they will get a deal done before the start of the regular season. The only thing that's going on now, a lot of back and forth in regards to guarantees. How much does he get up front? What do those injury guarantees look like? A lot of particulars, but I've talked to Tua's team. I've talked to the Dolphins, and there does not seem to be any concern that they're going to get this deal done. And so when they get that Tua deal done, this turns into a team that was having a quarterback on a rookie deal to a team that's paying a massive, massive number. And so that really shortens your timetable, your window to win. And this is a team that hasn't won a playoff game in 24 years. And so if the pressure was high last year, it's going to be even higher this year. This is a team that knows the time is now. And when you pay your quarterback's going to have to produce, not just in September and October, as you discussed, putting up video game numbers, that January time too as well.
Cameron Wolfe joining us from NFL Network. He's a national reporter, but also has a keen eye on the Miami Dolphins. You just said exactly what I was about to get to, because today I want to set the actual realistic expectations for the Dolphins this season. If you feel like Tua has shown what he's supposed to do in the regular season, really just mostly last year because he stayed healthy and was able to lead the league in passing, he hasn't necessarily shown that he can have that playoff success. What should be the expectations this year then? Is it just win a playoff game? Is it to actually look like a team that can contend for a Super Bowl? Or as a team that right now on Hard Rock Bet, they've got the third longest odds to win the division at plus 200 in the AFC East. Should they just be like hoping to check that box and win the AFC East?
Yeah, no, I think, you ask them, they will tell you Super Bowl. But I think the reality is for the team that hasn't won as much as they have not won, I think you got to be realistic and say, hey, if they can win a playoff game and even win a division and win a playoff game, I think you can consider that a step forward. Now, eventually they're going to have to win the big one. That's what everybody's judged on. But you look at this team, and it's been since 2000 since they've won a playoff game. So much disappointment for this franchise. I think I hold that as the standard for them. If they don't win a playoff game, I think it's a disappointing season, regardless of what happens. And so when you look at how the roster's set up, they went and got Odell Beckham as like kind of the finishing piece for this offense to go with Tyreek Hill, to go with Jaylen Waddle. And the reality is you only have so much time with this offense that's currently constructed. Tyreek Hill's 30 years old. He's only got one more guaranteed year left on his deal. You just paid Waddle $28 million. How long is Tyreek Hill going to be able to be a Dolphin? Is he got 1 or 2 years left? Teron Armstead, he's coming back this year, but this may be his last year as well. And so then you start to hit the cap number for Tua if he gets that extension in 2025 and 2026. Same for Waddle. And so this year, next year seem to be the 2-year window with this current group. If not, you're going to see new guys coming in and it not be a Tyreek Hill and Teron Armstead cord offense. It'd be different guys. And so I think there's a sense of urgency. I had a conversation with Raheem Mostert this week in practice, a Dolphins practice, and he said the reality is it's been BS for us how we've ended the season the last couple of years. Right. He's like, I don't know what you want to call it, choking or whatnot, but, you got to call a spade a spade. When it comes to January, we have not played well. And so a lot of people around the league have a notion that this team is soft when it comes to cold weather and when they play contenders. And they have to look it into their face. They can't tell people they're liars because the proof is in the pudding. And so I think the reality is you can't get to January until you win the early games, but this team won't be defined by anything they do from September to December. It'll be what happens in January.
Well, you know what? You like playing games, Cam?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's play a game. Can we get our theme music? So I was going to play our favorite game here, Trev, or where we pitch Trevor Lawrence against other quarterbacks is who you would want. But I have a better game now that you mentioned that the Dolphins need to win a playoff game this year. So I'm going to ask you, the Dolphins or, and I'll name another AFC contender, you tell me, let's just picture it's January. Let's just say neutral site right now. And as rosters are currently constructed, are you picking the Dolphins in that game or the other AFC contender? Let's start right at the top. Neutral site, Dolphins or Chiefs in January?
Kansas City.
Easy. That was an easy one.
Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
Well, we saw that last year. year. Let's step it down some. Dolphins or the Baltimore Ravens?
The Ravens. The Ravens beat them, dominated them last year. They're still the better team.
I got you. I'm right with you there. Cameron Wolfe, NFL Network, playing Dolphins and we keep it in the division here, the Dolphins or the Buffalo Bills?
Okay. What temperature is it outside?
This is a January game. It is let's say it's 75. Let's say it's 75.
Oh,
not too hot, not too cold.
Different, right?
Yeah.
75 is different. Not as cold. I will say this. You come at the king, you best not miss. And Buffalo has been the king of that division for 3 years. Every year the Dolphins have tried and fell short. And so until they beat Buffalo, I cannot pick them over Buffalo.
So that's
give me the Buffalo Bills.
That's the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills, who you have, again, on a neutral site, beating the Dolphins if it was January. How about we go to the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that we didn't really get a full picture of last year because of health with Joe Burrow, but let's assume health, a fully strength Cincinnati Bengals or the Dolphins.
Now this is getting a little tight now. Fully healthy Cincinnati Bengals roster. This is neutral site.
Neutral site.
In January.
Let's just say it's a
I'm
dome.
Have to still go. It's a dome?
Yeah, let's just say it's a dome, yeah.
I'm still gonna have to say the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
I'm being real with you, man. The Dolphins have to prove it. The Dolphins have to prove it before I can believe that they can square up with these teams who have won playoff games. The Bengals have made a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, the Ravens have made AFC Championship games. Same with the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins have not won a playoff game. I got to see something for them before I put them ahead of these quarterbacks, these contenders.
I won't even waste our time with the Jets because I think the most interesting one here that's going to make you struggle will be the Dolphins or the Houston Texans, who did win a playoff game last year.
Wow. So this one a year ago would have seemed like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But C.J. Stroud has changed things for sure. I think, and this will kind of go to my answer here, I think the C.J. Stroud Houston Texans are the biggest threat to the Patrick Mahomes Kansas City Chiefs this year. And so I think the Houston Texans would beat the Dolphins in January at a neutral site.
Cut the music,
Yeah,
C-Cat.
I got the Dolphins going 0-5.
Yeah, cut the music. So you say the Dolphins should pay Tua Tagovailoa, and we like the deal that they have with Jaylen Waddle, and you say they'll be judged based on if they can win a playoff game. I just named 5 AFC contenders, and they just went 0-5. What gives?
Yeah. Hey, it's not looking great, right?
Just look.
Look, I don't want to be a pessimist. I know Dolphins fans, a lot of them are listening right now, have a nature of being a little pessimistic, and I don't blame them. They've been scarred a lot. They've been hurt. They've seen a lot of high hopes and let down. And I don't have pessimism in my blood, but I have watched this Dolphins team. And I think that for all they are as an offensive team, what we worry about the most is when January comes against a contender, are we still going to get that version? And I have not seen that version. And so, you know, I cannot pick them in good faith. Like, I feel like I would be somewhat as a homer if I'm picking them against teams who have showed they can excel in this setting. Like, I hope I'm wrong because that means I get to cover some deep playoff games in Miami instead of Buffalo and Kansas City where I freeze my butt off. I would love that. It would be good for my bones to be in the warmth.
Yes.
But right now, you asking me in good faith, I cannot say the Dolphins would beat any of these teams until I see it.
Well, I think we have our answer. And you don't have to be the one to say it. I will say it when we get off the phone with you. And you did say this, though, Cam. You did say this. The Dolphins playing in warm weather would help. Step one is going to be winning the AFC East and potentially even trying to get that 1 seed so they can do so, because I named all of those teams: Cincinnati, Kansas City, Buffalo. Ain't no roof, and it ain't no warmth when it comes January.
Nope. Nope. And the reality is, like, I know a lot of this will be on quarterback, and Tua certainly got to play better in January. But I think the biggest thing that causes me uncertainty with the Dolphins is they are completely overhauling this defense. They're having 7 players who are starters or key contributors who are gone. They got a new defensive coordinator. And in January, that's what matters. And I'm hopeful that they have their stuff ready by then, but I've got to see it. And, you know, you score 30 in September, it doesn't matter if you're scoring 20 in January and your defense can't hold up. So I think that I have a lot more comfort in those other teams you mentioned on both sides of the ball than I right now do with the Dolphins.
That's right. I'm right on par with you right there. He is Cam Wolfe. And speaking of on par, see you at your next local golf course, because I know that's where you're probably headed next.
Absolutely. The water is not your friend, Theo. I just want to remind you that. The water is not your friend.
And the sand ain't yours. Cameron Wolfe, NFL Network. Appreciate your time, bro. I'll holler at you soon. He's
Appreciate you, bro.
At Cameron Wolfe on Twitter. You can follow him for his takes. And again, like I said, 3 times a week at least, you'll see some pics of him throwing divots all over your favorite golf course. We talked about it needing to be hot for the Dolphins to be good. Well, you need it to be cool in your house for you to be comfortable. And if you want to make sure you're set up with the best team that can get you cool and comfortable and settled away, you're going to want EDS Air Conditioning and Plumbing. EDS is, yes, I'm a Gold Plan member, which means I get 2 different visits per year plus 15% off repairs. And it's worth it. It's worth it for the peace of mind knowing that if anything goes wrong, anything goes haywire with the air conditioning unit in my crib, especially this time of year, because if your AC goes out right now, let me just tell you, that thermostat's going to start around the 70s and it's going to peak into the high 80s, and it's unlivable. You cannot go without being locked in with EDS Air Conditioning and Plumbing. They're trained comfort specialists. It is hard to stop a train. EDSairconditioning.com. EDSairconditioning.com to lock in with the best. EDS is yes. That was Cameron Wolfe. We'll have that obviously anywhere you can find podcasts, Theoretically Speaking, as well as on YouTube at Theo Speaking, my guy Cam. And because it is more so about Jaylen Waddle, we wanted to bring in somebody who's an expert on not just playing in a Mike McDaniel offense, but also, he led the league in receptions in 2013. Friend of the show, Pierre Garçon, former NFL receiver, John I. Leonard alum, jumping on with us next to talk Dolphins, to talk Waddle here on Theoretically Speaking.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine